All right, it looks like we are live. Happy Monday, everyone. Hope this message, this live video is reaching you having had an amazing weekend. Why don't you go ahead and type in real quick what the highlight of your weekend was, and be sure to say hello and let me know where you're logging in from. If I can get my voice cleared real fast here. Quick message I wanted to share with you all today, and I promise to keep it under just a few minutes because I want to be respectful of your time. First of all, I want to say a huge thank you to those of you who have been logging in to these, who have been watching these, who have been liking on them, who have been interacting with them, who have been sharing with them. It does help, as I understand, get this out to more people, and Facebook and their algorithms say this is good content, and they in turn go and show it to more people. So even if you're watching the replay of this, be sure to like it, be sure to comment on it, be sure to push some emojis and share it. If you find value in this, I don't want you to do it just because I ask. Do it because it genuinely is helpful to you and you think it would help somebody else. And if you do have a specific person in mind, be sure to tag them in here. But otherwise, I think that's the big one. I see Sam and Lisa on here. Good to see you on here. Sandra, Peter, Anthony. I'll circle back around and answer questions here at the end if you have any questions. But really quick message I want to give you all today. And then I will be back on for questions for a minute if anybody wants to stay around, but I don't want to keep you too long. I'm reading this book, and I'm just about done with it. I think I only have a few more pages left, but it's called, if you can see it, Baseballs Don't Bounce. Baseballs Don't Bounce. And I was lucky enough to actually meet the author of this book a couple times and have a few Bud Lights with him. So he's a genuinely good guy. And just a quick summary of it. The author of the book, Forrest, was in a car accident, head-on collision several years ago that he, for all practical purposes, should have died from, and it left him with a severe brain injury. And he went from being a successful business person to having to relearn how to read and write and all these types of things. And I won't go too much into his whole story because if you want to read the book, you can definitely do it. And this book that he's written here it's basically his journey back from his journey of recovery, but also it acts as a how-to guide for people who are trying to recover from a brain injury or some other injury, and also for people who are caretakers of those folks too. The title is Baseballs Don't Bounce, and the reason why that's the title is it's the moment in the book where he became aware that he needed to make some changes for himself. He was at his son's birthday, and I think it was his son's 6th or 7th birthday, something like that. And Forrest had this brain injury now for a number of time, and he had, like most of us may, been angry, pissed off, depressed, struggling, blaming everyone, everything else, feeling sorry for himself. And his son got this baseball glove and a baseball glove. So his son unwraps the present. And he's super excited. He sees this ball, and Forrest observes his son take the baseball, go and throw it on the ground, and then sit there like this, waiting, and the ball never bounced back up. And he said when he saw his son do that, he started to cry. And he cried and he cried and he cried because here his son, he realized that as a father, he had completely let his son down. He had been so consumed with his own suffering that he hadn't even thought to stop to think how it was affecting his son. He had been so consumed and so focused on his own suffering that he'd completely neglected and negated doing the things that fathers are supposed to do for their sons, like teach them how to play catch and teach them that baseballs don't bounce, that you actually throw a baseball and you catch it. And it was a pivotal moment for him. It was a moment of change and transformation because at that moment he resolved to get better. He resolved to not allow his injury and his circumstances to define his life, but he resolved to define his circumstances. See, what I love about this as a metaphor is that all of us are going to have challenges, hardships in life. Some of us are going to go through some really awful stuff. And I am not here to sit here and pretend like I know why things happen and whatnot, nor am I going to try to make small of it, say, oh, yeah, we're supposed to get over it. There's some really fucked up stuff that happens to us. And many of you have experienced it before. I certainly have. But we have choices after that happens, right? Suffering persists because we're so focused on ourselves And we're so focused on how we think the world's supposed to be. And now life circumstances don't meet that model of how we thought the world was supposed to turn out. See, in our minds, we had decided that the world was supposed to line up for us like this. It was supposed to open arms, and we're going to have this job, this relationship, this much money, this kind of stuff. And then something doesn't happen. And so what we do is we take that, and then if we internalize it and decide to be the victim and play the blame game, we're going to completely miss how it affects everyone else. See, if you were to ask probably anybody in those suffering situations, if you were to step outside and say what's most important, they'd probably point to the immediate circle of people around them and say that's more important to them, maybe even in their own life. But what he was doing in this context is he was so focused on his injury and defining himself by his injury that he completely missed what was most important. And when he became aware of what was most important to him, what he could still control now and in the present, he committed to make a change. I think this is a great message to start Monday off because some of us are dealing with some really hard stuff right now. Some of us are suffering, and we're suffering unnecessarily. And I say unnecessarily because it doesn't matter if something horrible happened or not. If you're continuing to suffer, you're suffering unnecessarily. Life is already hard enough as it is. You don't have to make it harder by continuing to suffer. Remember, baseballs don't bounce. Your suffering is not just about you. It's about all the people who are around you too. And somewhere down the line, whether you have a little child or you have a grandparent, a friend, a family member, whomever, that loves you and cares about you, if you insist to keep suffering, don't be shocked when they open up their present and they throw the baseball at the ground and it doesn't bounce back. There are people who love you and care about you and who want to see extraordinary from you in your life. You have to be willing to see that in yourself. Baseballs don't bounce, but they sure as hell are fun to toss, and they are sure as hell fun to catch. And if baseball isn't your thing, there's lots of other stuff you can do. But the point of it is the stuff you can still do is the stuff you can do with the people in your life, because they're who are ultimately going to matter most. And I encourage you all to take away from this today is if you find yourself in a place of suffering, or you know someone who is, instead of focusing on the suffering, perhaps instead try to focus on the people in your life and what you can do to make the most of right now with them. Because let's be real, tomorrow is not guaranteed, but right now is. And you have a choice on how you're going to experience this moment. So why not experience the best of it? I hope this message is helpful to you. I appreciate all of you being here. Quick acknowledgement of who's online. I see Lisa, Melanie, Catherine, Ashley, Carrie, Sarah, Erica, Kelly, Sam, Anthony, Peter, Sandra, Wendy, Heather. Great to see you. Karen, great to see so many of you on here. Hope this message has been helpful. If you're watching the replay, be sure to comment, like, send it out to someone who benefits from, tag them in it if you feel this is valuable. If not, you don't have to do any of those things. It's just personal request. So don't do it unless you mean it. And also, give me some feedback. Are these live videos helpful? If they are, I'll keep doing them. If they're not, I will go and find something else to do with my time. And if they are helpful, is this time a good time for you? I like to mix it up, so we'll have a different message tomorrow, but I will be back here if you are. All right? Sending lots of love to you all. Hope today is amazing, whether it's a Monday, Tuesday, whatever day of the week it is, morning, noon, or night. Make the rest of your day absolutely extraordinary. We'll see you next time, everybody. Bye-bye.